out here in this weather. It's cold. Thank God we did not have yet any snow. Not everybody.
By the time the game gets
Yeah, right? We are expecting actually some. Before I get started, I'll have Felix to do the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. My name is Mark Hatt. I think everyone knows that. I'm the youth president of the 666 Community Council, and with me I have Felix Saborgos, who is vice president. I have Frank Sampoli, the secretary. I have Ari Weiss, who's the sergeant of arms. There's Tony Pedri over there. Sorry. I have
I just want to give you a little idea how we did last year. Last year, I've talked about through the year, we were kind of flat. We had some issues with grand larcenies. We were doing very well in burglaries. We were doing, had some issues with assaults, doing good in robberies. So how we ended up down 1% for the year ending 2011, which compounds on our reduction in 2010 for about a 2-year average of 8%, which is well over the city average of about 3% for a 2-year average. So we did very well here. Crime is very low, but we do have crime still. And one crime happens to somebody, it impacts that person like 100 crimes would impact the community. So it's very important for us, okay? With that said, I would like to thank everybody this year who helped us out. Besides the great men and women of the 6-6 precinct, and we'll get to one of them in a moment, but also the community, the interactions we have, the complaints coming in, using 311, our auxiliary that are here, many of them peppered into this audience here, our Shamram, our Hatzola, our elected officials, all the support we get. All that support helps us do our job. It helps us do our job a lot more effectively and a lot more quicker. And I thank you for that, and hopefully we continue that into 2012. With that, I'll get into the top of the month, and I'll tell you what's going on now, currently, in the command. We have an officer here, Mariana Zachary, who has been with us and hasn't been with us. And I'll tell you why. She did a great assignment. This is not why she's getting top of the month, but she probably should anyway. She worked on a very big case with credit card fraud and identity theft. And it spanned throughout the city. And it was probably just about a year-long operation, okay? And she's very fluent in different languages, and she helped translate and investigate and do some tales on some people. And the case was broken at the end of November. And they took it down. I believe there was several people arrested with it. And it was a very complex case. But what they do, they were skimming your credit card, they were getting your information, and they were using your identity to buy and purchase cars, houses, jewelry, perfume, vacations, things of the like. So that's something that affects the city. It's the biggest growing crime. It's very technologically advanced crime. It's very tough to investigate and make arrests on. But she was implement, very important on that. So thank you for that. Which is also here. She's also here back in December while doing patrol. She responded to a robbery in progress. And as I tell you before, getting the perpetrator from the robbery right away is utmost importance, because this person doesn't go out and hit us again. As we see from time to time, we'll get clusters of robberies, and it'll usually be the one person. But when we apprehend an individual right away, it helps us a lot and save some victims of robberies. And that's what she did that night with her partner. They were driving around, picked up the complaint, got the information, put it over the radio. They started canvassing in the area and saw this individual who perpetrated this robbery. What he did, he knocked down the woman. She was carrying a purse, came from behind, pushed her down, hurt her, and ripped the purse from her arm. So it's a pretty violent offender. She tracked him down, made the apprehension without injury to herself or her partner, and we're very grateful and thank her for that. Thank you. No? You sure? Who's your husband, do you think? Come on. Come on. Her husband's here and her daughter, so.
Inspector over here, one second.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, like Mark said, we have some guests here from the Community Affairs Bureau. We have Officer Yosef and Officer Collado from Community Affairs Bureau. Officer Collado, I think, wants to just speak for a moment. I'll let him do that right now.
I just want to introduce myself. I'm Officer Santo Collado. I'm from the Community Affairs Bureau. I work under Chief Banks out of 1PP. And I'm just here to introduce myself. I'll be working hand in hand with your local community affairs officer. We will be assisting them in any manner that the community may be facing. Community Affairs Bureau posts tips of the month. This month's tip is the electronic devices that it's been featured in many media reports, and the police department, the community affairs division wants you to remain vigilant with your electronic devices, especially smartphones that have been, people don't think it could happen to them, but it takes merely a second for somebody to pick up your phone from anywhere you may lay it down. And we just want you to be vigilant. One way we could assist the police department in that is installing on your smartphone tracking application that can track your phone. And if ever you may be missing it or if it's stolen, we want you to download for the Apple, Android, and BlackBerry phones. There's applications that will track your phone wherever it may be located if you happen to become a victim of this. And we also want you to invite you to visit the Community Affairs website, nyc.gov/NYPD. Community Affairs, a lot of people don't know what we're about, and the website gives you more in detail information. I also have these cards that explain to you what we do. If anybody wants to pick some up, I'll be holding them, and if anybody wants more information, I'll be in the back to answer. Okay? Thank you.
I want to piggyback on what he's saying, the electronic devices. Electronic devices, 9 out of 10 of our robberies, first of all, youth-related, as I spoke to you before about in past meetings, but electronic devices are 99% of the time is what's taken. And it's the latest, greatest, hottest phone that comes out. And whether it's an Android phone or the iPhone, that Find My Phone feature that you can activate on that phone is so important they can't disable it. Okay? We have great success in that. We had a robbery on Bay Parkway at 60th Street not too long ago. Individual surrounded by four people robbed of his iPhone. Okay? We got up on his phone right away and tracked that phone to a house party in Rockaway. Okay? And we got the 4 individuals. You laugh, but it's that simple. And that's 4 people that are arrested for the robbery. Yeah, you get the phone back. You probably have insurance. The point is we got 4 people who just did a robbery. Okay? And the shock on their faces is the police are at their door at a house party, and they say, my new phone that they're trying to program already. Okay? It's so important. You get that phone, plug it in, put my Find My feature on your phone, especially iPhones or Droids. Very simple to set up, takes about 5 minutes. Okay? Then we can activate it from a computer, and we can track it. It's a GPS in your phone. Okay? You gotta keep your GPS on, but such is life with that. Big Brother's watching sometimes. But it's very important. But please do that. It helps us do a better job and get these phones back and make these arrests. Okay? And as you see, a lot of these snatches are happening at transit hubs, okay? Especially just sitting by the door on the subway, okay? You're on that iPad, you're on that phone, you're not paying attention. What's going on? You're just sitting there. It takes 3 seconds, that door opens, it's right out of your hands, you're gone. You don't even see who did it, okay? You're walking down the street, someone takes it, all you're going to see is the back of it. Just be cognizant of it, okay? People want those phones. They're expensive. Okay, with that, this year, we're starting out okay, but what we're seeing is our biggest increase, almost our only increase, is in burglaries in the 6-6 precinct. And it really started late December into the last couple of weeks. And we have 2 different burglary patterns that are currently going on. And Detective Davis is going to speak about one of them from crime prevention in a moment, about deception burglaries. Basically dealing with utility, people portraying their utility company, coming into your home, trying to distract you, and the other party goes in your house, takes your jewelry or your cash really quick, and then leave. They usually target elderly victims, all right? We'll get into how you better protect yourself. But another pattern that we have going on, and I believe I'm speaking to a couple of gentlemen here about it, was we had rear door entries between McDonald Avenue, Coney Island Avenue, from Caton down to Dickens Avenue. And we have about 7 of those in our pattern currently. And what people are doing at the, as it starts getting dark, it gets dark early, obviously it's the winter time, they go into the rear, either through your kitchen door, your window, or through your second story. Go in, remove cash, jewelry, whatever they can get, a lot of pocket property, as we call it, and go out. We have had some success with this burglary pattern. We arrested 3 individuals at the end of last week and recovered property to some of the burglaries that happened on our side. We shared this pattern with the 70th Precinct, who bordered us on Coney Island Avenue. All 3 perpetrators were apprehended. They were young individuals, very young individuals, and they lived in the confines of the 70th Precinct. And they're basically driving down into our command and seeing where people weren't home and taking advantage and going into these houses really quick. And it happened within about a 2.5-week period that we really got hit with these. So the pattern was established. We have 3 arrests. Since we arrested these 3 individuals, we don't have burglaries fitting those patterns. So we believe they're responsible mostly. We still have to wait for fingerprints, evidence, things like that to come back from the other burglaries to see if we can tie these individuals into it. It always doesn't work that way, so may not be able to definitively tied into these individuals. But when we arrest somebody and that crime drops in that area, or that type of burglary drops in that area, it's safe to say we got our individuals responsible for it, okay? And obviously we're going to track these individuals as they get out of jail and through their court process, and the DA's office does a fantastic job helping us with that and getting the best prosecution, as they always do. Thank you. Your statements and cosmetic statements, and then phone calls were made thereafter. These cases get investigated by the Hate Crimes Task Force, and we have Sergeant Lamberti from the Hate Crimes Task Force here with the detectives. They do the best job out of anybody investigating these. One of the most recent had an arrest by the end of that night, and it was fantastic work done by them, and very heads up with that investigation. And it's a very quick turnover, as you can imagine, with the amount of phone calls, the leads, everything that come in. But they do a great job with it. I cannot get into detail of exactly the specifics of these cases, but they're being investigated as if we investigate a murder case, times that by 10. That's how much attention they get, all right? So just please understand that at this time. Also, we did an aggressive tow operation last night. On Bay Parkway and 21st Avenue, there were some past complaints about the tractor trailers parked on 21st Avenue and Bay Parkway and leaving litter and things like that over there, idling, overnight parking. Last night we took out 4 heavy-duty tow trucks from Parking Enforcement Division and took 17 trucks out of there. Some were tractor trailers, 18-wheelers, some were box trucks, but we cleared those 2 avenues out. We will probably follow up with another operation sometime in the future, really to drive it home. You cannot overnight park there. It causes a problem. The fumes, the community was complaining, so the response to that was great. We had cooperation throughout traffic enforcement, parking enforcement, and outside with the NYPD, so that went very well on that end. But getting back in, electronics devices, all those types of crimes is what really is very important to us. So please, tell your kids, your grandkids, your friends, just watch those phones. Find My Phone feature, please do it when you go home if you have a smartphone. You can do it from here, as you're sitting here. It's an app on the phone, and it's very important to know you have it, okay? And then also on your phone, you have an IMEI number, okay? It's on the back behind the battery. Take that out, it's like the phone serial number, log that, so we'll have that also. That's another way we track your phone during these robberies, okay? I'm going to open up some questions, then we're going to have a presentation on the deception burglaries by Detective Davis, okay? So please, I'll open the floor up. Yes, Joe.
Did you get,
Surprise you.
did you get new recruits?
No, we did not. The recruits went to impact commands, okay? The 70th Precinct is one of them, the 67th Precinct was one of them, and the 71st Precinct is one of them within our borough. But the good news is, they had impact classes in prior to that. Once they transition them in, we will get the old impact group out. Okay, so I'm looking forward in the next month or so to get some new officers in the future.
Will that make a difference?
Always makes a difference.
Well, what we do.
I could utilize them on my patrol. I might be able to reestablish a foot post I lost here or there. I can fill my crime teams and my conditions teams. Well, I mean, we're running at strength. We have enough manpower. But like I said, I'll always tell you, I'll take 100 more cops any day. I won't get 100, maybe I'll get 10, but I'll take them. So.
I went to some safety awareness meetings because of all the broke-ins that were going on in
Yes.
Bruce's Terrace.
Yeah. Mhm.
And it was recommended, I can't remember which officer spoke, but it was recommended that people carry their phone around with them and even be on conversation with someone, so that they can say something like, oh my God, somebody's approaching me.
Mhm.
So then you've got your, $500 phone in your hand. So how do you do that, but?
That tactic,
Not show,
we suggest that tactic just for that
Yeah.
reason.
Mhm.
And we tell you don't even have to be on the phone to anybody. It's just the whole point of, if that individual, no, you talk, you can have a big conversation with anybody. Yeah, how you doing? I'm almost home, I'll be there, yeah, stay on. People are like, you know what, they're on the phone, they're gonna hear it, and they're not gonna do it, okay? Some perpetrators, especially people who do snatches or some of these gropings, they don't want to be confrontational, okay? They don't want the fight, okay? And that's why hardcore robbers, they don't mind the confrontation, all right? They didn't stick a gun in your face, they're confrontational. Burglars, they're not confrontational, because they want to go in your house when you're not there and take your stuff when no one's looking. You follow? So that whole point was is to deter someone who may, or you may feel uncomfortable with something. And it's like, it's kind of put on the show. I tell you that all the time. You gotta be confident. You can't walk like you're meek. And, you can't play the victim in a sense. And it's hard to say that, but you gotta kind of adapt to what's going on a bit. I don't want you to be paranoid. I don't want you to be thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna walk down the street, my phone's gonna be snatched. Okay? I have, what do I have? We're in what's today? The 20th, 19th. I have eight robberies this year so far. Okay, which is excellent. It's 8 robberies, but I don't have robberies happen 2, 3 at a time every day. You follow? I can go days. Since Saturday night, we haven't had a robbery. So it's not. I don't want you to be paranoid, but you got to arm yourself whatever you can. The chances are it's not going to happen to you. But all that is advice is to say, hey,
Nobody's
don't
gonna
do it.
want this anyway.
The Smithsonian might. But you find they might, it's a deterrent, that's all they did. But don't confuse the two. I mean, if you, listen, we're all on our cell phones, we'll text. Just look up every now and then. Okay, that's all. Just look up every, yes. I'll get you soon, I'm sorry.
I was one of the victims that
Yes.
my house was broken into. In reference to the recent arrest,
Right.
were they involved with the car?
The
Because
black, yeah.
it was, okay. I'm speaking for a lot of people.
We don't have that car yet. We know
Okay.
they have
We're
access
looking.
to it.
We're looking.
Yeah.
We know they don't have access to it.
Pretty much every
That's all.
night, my routine,
Right.
and no disrespect to the 6-6 or the owners of the 6-6,
No,
but it's a
take it.
vast amount of area that you have to cover.
Right.
We don't see as much police precincts,
Right.
presence as we'd like, but, look, that's all good. The bottom line is, with these individuals, for example, my house was broken into on the 23rd of December. My neighbor 2 doors next to me, about a year ago, his daughter was held at gunpoint at her house. There has been no correspondence, contact, and my neighbor who got his daughter held at gunpoint was a retired cop, and he was expecting some type of feedback. Never got any. Other than one officer from your precinct, Officer Vitelli,
Vitello, yeah.
Vitello, my other neighbor a block up, whose other house was broken into, she raves about him because there was a canvas. He went to neighbors.
Right.
He did what he was supposed to do. Where the detectives on my case, there was nothing done. And they even, I'm not here to complain about that. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, should we continue to, I wouldn't say canvass the neighborhood, but to always be diligent or
Right.
is there any chance of getting more of a police presence in our neighborhood?
Absolutely. And I tell you, there was a police presence in the neighborhood, but here's the thing. We saturated your area with our crime team.
That I do agree
Right,
with, because
that-
I've seen
Right.
Like car service cars with Easton on the back, minivans.
Right,
And,
so you know
my
what we have,
observation
right.
skills are pretty keen,
Right,
but
right.
the bottom line is, I know that, and maybe some thieves know that, but, you know, your low-life crack dealer, like crack addict,
Right.
doesn't know that. So, you know, simple blue and white that's going back and forth,
100%. It is, I completely agree with you. First of all, get back on the canvas. Officer Vitale does the crime prevention.
Right.
Okay, his job is to go out to the crime victim
And
and do
he's-
cases, particularly on burglaries.
and
that's
he's
what-
done an incredible job for my neighbor.
Where's Joe? I spoke to you about the detective issue and how
Right.
that works, and that message you're gonna get back, and I apologize to you for that. We do overt and covert, obviously, as you know.
Right.
And you know, the overt is just guys driving around in these cars, okay?
Right.
We identify people who live in an area, all right, especially when burglaries happen. I'll just give you a little insight how we do it,
Uh-huh.
okay? We do our parolees, our probation guys, we see who's in, who's out, who would be doing this. All of a sudden, this area is getting hit with burglars, all right? We start tracking these guys, we start following these guys. And in a sense, we pull some uniform out, so we almost can see what you follow?
I got you.
He's almost gotta catch somebody in act a bit, or else he's gonna do it, okay? It's a little difficult, it's frustrating, it takes a lot of patience, okay? But we didn't catch these three guys that way, though.
No, I understand.
These were young kids, they've never been arrested before, okay? They were kind of like, whoa, where'd these kids come from?
Right.
All right, and we got them right on the other side of Coney Island Avenue, and then we matched it up with that, but you'll see more, I'll give you more out there. Your sector, your zone up there, George King we call it, that's our sector, our zone,
Okay.
gets a good portion of property crime, okay? Not violent crime, property crime.
Right.
With burglaries and most of your car breaks, okay? And we just arrested an individual who we probably arrested about 10 times prior for car breaks, okay? He goes, tries, he won't break your car window.
He tries the handles.
If it's unlocked, you know, I'll tell you, they might pick it, we tell them all the time.
They did it to
You
my
know,
neighbor next
We got
door.
him yesterday.
We have three houses, I'm sorry, I'm gonna
Right.
cut you off. We have three houses. One guy's daughter was held by gunpoint. The neighbor next door to him, in between the two, his car was broken into because he left his car open in his driveway, and then my house was broken into and robbed. And this will be my last question to you. But the perpetrators who were apprehended last week, is there any chance of finding out from them or them cooperating with you as far as the stuff that they took from individuals' houses?
We got some cooperation with them, and then it just ended with them, all right? They decided to stop talking at one point, but we did get some from them, enough to glean information of where we should be going with it. But then they probably realized how deep they were digging themselves in.
For example, like
Stuff.
pawn shops and stuff like that?
Pawn shops, I'll give you a little bit more insight, I don't want to give all the trade
Okay.
secrets out, but the pawn shops, okay? They're routinely, they are so heavily regulated by us, okay? They have to do so many formulated procedures when you sell property, okay? They will, and they have to hold it for a certain amount of period of time. That's why when we ask for descriptions of property, what's been taken, particularly jewelry, okay? If it's something with, you know, initial on it or something unique to it, we go out with those and we hit all these pawn shops, all right? Then we give it to other precincts to hit theirs. Okay, see if we can recover it, to try and match it, the name, I don't want to get terrible, but that's how we do it, all right? Those pawn shops, we go every end, okay? We take
In the
patrol in.
6-6 precinct, 'cause no matter where I go, I talk about, you know, what happens in this precinct. And as I move through my district from Brownsville to Bedford-Stuyvesant to Park Slope, you know, this precinct is just really the energy that's needed between the police department and the community patrol. If we could just get the entire city to get on board how the synergy between both the precinct and the community patrol, it will really change crime. We just can't thank the department enough from, you know, if it's the SWAT sticker issue or any issue. The traumatic issue you went through with the young man that lost his life in this community, and how the community came about. And Inspector, I want to really thank you and you and your men and women. No matter who changes as mayor, no matter who changes as state senator, the men and women in your blue uniform are always there. They're the permanent body in the city, and I'm glad I wore it for 22 years. It is the best job you can have, you know. And I figured out in my first week the real criminals were now in the street. They're up in Albany, you know. So I just wanted to come by and just say hello, and you know, just feel free to reach out. You know, Joel is always here. He was with me from the first time I was elected, and I can't thank him enough. He helped me navigate the complexity. This is a complex community, and you better know how to do things the right way. And Joel has always been there for me. Reach out to my office whenever you need. You can email me. My email is just Voice of Concern. I answer all my emails. I don't allow my staff to filter them. I answer them directly, so feel free to do so. And I just want to conclude my proudest moment as a state senator was when there was an attempt to take away the variable supplement of police officers. And people tried to paint them as bonuses and Christmas bonuses, without realizing during the 60s, police officers gave up that right, gave up. They had to trade up their benefits to get that variable supplement. And when we were able to put together a coalition, and a lot of the assemblymen and senators came to me and they said, Eric, what is this variable supplement? Is it real? Do the police officers deserve it? And I was able to change that atmosphere up in Albany and let these officers keep their variable supplement, which they earn and they have a right to do. Men and women who put on bulletproof vests and stand on corners and protect us, the least we can do is protect the benefits that they fought for. We should let no one tell us our police officers not deserve an adequate salary and a retirement where they're able to also provide for their families. So thank you, and I thank our officers.